Welcome to our late night conversation. Mo kí gbogbo wa pé a tún kábọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa tí a mọ̀ sí Koikimedia, níbi tí a ti ń ṣàlàyé fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa ìdí tí a ṣe ń sọ pé a fẹ́ exit Nàìjíríà. Mo kí gbogbo wa pé ṣé dáadáa ni a tún láǹfààní àti ríra wa. Bí ẹ ṣe ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa, ẹ bá wa gbé ọwọ́ lé share button ká tún jọ gbé yẹ̀wò, ká dẹ̀ wo àkọlé ètò ti talẹ́ tí à ń pè ní If we do not act now. Tí a bá gbé ìgbésẹ̀ nínú ìrìn àjò tí a gbé dání, ó ṣeé ṣe pé another 50 years tí wọ́n ń sọ yẹn òun la máa lò nínú Nàìjíríà. But tá a bá fẹ́ kí 50 years yẹn kó ṣẹlẹ̀, a gbọ́dọ̀ gbé gbogbo ìgbésẹ̀ tó yẹ ká gbé gẹ́gẹ́ bí akọni ọmọ Yorùbá láti lè tètè kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. But tá a bá ti ṣe yẹn, kí gbogbo wa lọ múra fún 50 years more in Nigeria. Mo kí gbogbo wa, good evening and welcome. It is 17th of the month of November 2024. Ìkànnì Koikimedia, òun náà lẹ́wà yìí.
Koikimedia, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep. ìbò tó dé, ìgbà tó ìbò dé o, owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o, Koikimedia, sáwa ní bàbá. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Àdàtọ̀, àtòkèrè gidi. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Àwa là ń gbèsò lárugẹ jẹ́ ká jọgbọ́ o. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Àtúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa, fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o, tọkàntọkàn. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Ikú tó ṣe bí lébi òsì, àdéhùn bàbá iyọ̀. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. We bring you one closer to your doorstep. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Àtẹ̀tẹ̀ tó fẹ́ o, tó kàn ní oko lára ni. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Àgbèrè ìdè, Olódùmarè ló fún wa sí. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́, àwa ní bàbá o. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà yín wá o. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Òtútù alágbèdá ni òtítọ́ lágbèdá ni. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Àti sọ̀dálẹ̀, àti sódì kẹta. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Àgbọ̀ntàn, àgbọ̀pẹ̀rẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́. Koikimedia, àwọn ní bàbá. Koikimedia, we bring you one closer to your doorstep. Àwọn ní bàbá. Koikimedia is around. Give us the test. Is around. Give us the test. Ladies and gentlemen, ẹ̀múká lẹ́sílẹ̀. Ẹgbẹ́ tí ẹ̀kọ́ lójoojúmọ́. Ladies and gentlemen, ẹ̀múká lẹ́sílẹ̀. Ẹgbẹ́ tí ẹ̀kọ́ lójoojúmọ́. Koikimedia is around. Koikimedia.
lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí gbogbo wa pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa tí a mọ̀ sí Koikimedia. Mo kí wa pé ẹ kálẹ́, ẹ káàárọ̀ ní gbogbo ibikíbi tí ẹ bá ti ń darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Mo kí wa pé ṣe dáadáa ni mo tún láǹfààní àti bá wa. Ẹ̀yin tí à ń sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí òun náà ṣe ni lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ìrìn àjò Yorùbá nation àti pé kí ni ẹni tí à ń sọ lórí ẹ̀. Òun ni pé tí a bá gbégbésẹ̀ nísìn á pẹ́ díẹ̀ ká tó kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Tí a bá dẹ̀ sọ pé a ní gbégbésẹ̀, ìrìn àjò Yorùbá nation á wà nínú Nàìjíríà fún 50 years bí Britain ṣe ń sọ. Ǹjẹ́ a fẹ́ gbégbésẹ̀ àbá ní gbégbésẹ̀, ọwọ́ àwa ló kù sí nísìn, kò sí lọ́wọ́ ẹnìkankan mọ́. Mo ń bọ̀ mo ti dé. Gbogbo wa náà la rántí fídíò Èkìtì nígbà tí a jáde tí ó fi di pé ìbẹ̀rù dé bá Buhari àti àwọn ìjọba tí wọ́n fẹ́ jẹ́ kí a kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Bí a ti ṣe ń lọ ní méjì mẹ́ta tí wọ́n ń pa wá, tí ẹkọ́nọ́mì ṣe jàǹbá fún ìran Yorùbá, tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ di pé jíjẹ àti mímu ó ti di nǹkan ìbànújẹ́. Yorùbá nation òun náà lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń sọ, àmọ́ ǹjẹ́ mọ̀ pé lánàá a ṣe láǹfààní pé wọ́n tún dìbò ní Ondo State. Gbogbo náà la kúkú rí gbogbo àwọn tó jáde. A ní káwọn ọmọ wa náà kọ́ lọ síbẹ̀ kí wọ́n lọ wo ohun tó ń lọ. A rí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ló jáde láti dìbò torí pé kí ni ọ̀nà, kódà ara wọn tí wọ́n ń ta ìbò fúnra wọn ní 5,000. Ṣé ìtawà máa jókòó tì lélẹ́yìí tí a máa fún àwọn kan láyè kó máa ta ìbò, kó máa ra ìbò àbí a máa ní ìgbésẹ̀ tá a fi gbé. Kí wá ní ìgbésẹ̀ tá a máa gbé náà? Mò ń bọ̀ sẹ́, mo tí ì dé, mo kí gbogbo wa pé ẹ bá mi gbé ọwọ́ lé share button. Bí a bá gbé ìgbésẹ̀ fún àǹfààní ara wa ni, bá a bá gbé ìgbésẹ̀ àǹfààní ara wa náà ni. Àmọ́ ìgbésẹ̀ tá a bá gbé nísìn, òun ló máa sọ bóyá a máa wà nínú Nàìjíríà fún 50 years àbá ní sí. Ǹjẹ́ ti gbọ́ pé Modi, ta ló ń pè bẹ́ẹ̀, Indian Prime Minister, ó ti fẹ́ dé Nàìjíríà báyìí. Kí ni àjọṣepọ̀ India àti Nàìjíríà? Àti pé ṣé British nìkan ni ó fẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà coexist? Gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ni a fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. Mò ń bọ̀, mo ti dé. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé ẹ káàárọ̀ níbi tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ wa. A ti gbà pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá náà ni ó ti gbọ́ nípa pé kí a kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Ṣùgbọ́n tí a bá wò lọ wò bọ̀, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tí mọ̀ pé ó jẹ́ ká kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kọ́kọ́ lọ sí Ondo State, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. Election lọ nínú ẹ̀ lánàá. Àwọn tí wọ́n dìbò, wọ́n fẹ́ ìjọba tó máa ṣiṣẹ́ fún wọn. Wọ́n dẹ̀ fẹ́ kí àlàáfíà kó wà ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ní Ondo State. Tá bá wò lọ sẹ́yìn, a rí pé Akérédolú ni ó ṣèjọba bẹ̀ kó tó di pé ọlọ́jọ́ dé. Before then, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ náà ti ń ṣe government nínú Ondo State láti 1999. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wò láti 1999. Ǹjẹ́ ẹ má bínú pà nílé máa dárúkọ àkíyín ká tó parí ètò, torí àsìkò eré ọ̀tọ̀, àsìkò iṣẹ́ ọ̀tọ̀. Ẹni tó bá mú mi dárun mọ́jú, tẹ́yìn náà dárun mọ́jú, ká má fi àsìkò wa ṣeré. Gbogbo yín náà ni a ti kí. Àwọn tó bá bá wa lẹ́nu ẹ̀, à ń kí yín. Ẹni tó bá tún wò, torí kò ṣe gbogbo èèyàn náà ló máa láǹfààní àti wo live ni mò ń ṣe lọ́wọ́ yìí. Èmi náà dárun mọ́jú ni, gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹni tó fẹ́ lọ síbi iṣẹ́. Bí èèyàn bá dẹ̀ dé ibi iṣẹ́ náà, kíkí náà ìwọ̀nba náà ni, torí pé tó bá wà lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ lóògùn iṣẹ́, òun ni wọ́n sọ. Láti 1999 títí di sáà yìí, ǹjẹ́ a rí nǹkan kan tí a lè fi tọ́ka sí pé Ondo State tó ṣe election lánàá, ǹjẹ́ àyípadà wà fáwọn èèyàn wa? Depending on what you're looking at, depending on what you're seeing, ó ṣeé ṣe káwọn kan sọ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ changes ti wà at least sí nínú ìjọba military mọ́, which is also, an excuse. Ondo State fún rẹ̀, gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ti ṣe rí nínú history ibi tó ń pè ní Nàìjíríà, ó gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìkan náà àwọn gbòógì ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àǹfààní ń bẹ nínú ẹ̀ fún ẹni tó bí síbẹ̀ àtẹni tí wọ́n bí síbẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá, torí kò ń ṣe gbogbo wa náà la wá láti state kankan, state ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ láti wá, but in tó pa gbogbo àpọ̀ òun náà ni èdè tá à ń sọ àti ibi tó ń pè ní geographical area yẹn ní southwest part of Nigeria. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí n tí à ń kà ní bíbá, Ondo State 1976 February 3rd from the former Western State, òun ni wọ́n ti yọ Ondo State kúrò láti ibi tó ń pè ní the western part of, tẹ́ bá rántí pé 1960 nígbà tó partition Nigeria, ọ̀nà mẹ́ta ni wọ́n partition ẹ̀ sí. Kí la mọ̀ nípa Ondo State? It has about 15,500 kilometers. The capital is Akure. Kò sílẹ̀ Yorùbá tí kò ní history tọ̀dọ̀ tiẹ̀. Kódà tí a bá ní ká wo kí ni nǹkan tí a lè fi identify Ondo State, wọ́n ń pè ibìkan ní ìwé elérú gẹ́gẹ́ bí a ti ṣe kà ìwò elérú. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ mọ ibi tó wà, but tí a bá padà sẹ́yìn gẹ́gẹ́ bí information tó wà ní iwájú wa, ìwò elérú rock shelter in the southwest Nigeria is a site with a rich history. A rich history. But kí ló jẹ́ kó wà rich? Àti pé richness yẹn ọ̀nà wo la fẹ́ gbà láti fi retain ẹ̀ padà tó lè ní impact? Ṣé a kàn máa jáde báyìí, a máa sọ̀rọ̀, a dẹ̀ fún àwọn kan láyè láti take advantage torí pé àwọn ni wọ́n ń ṣe government wa nísìn? Àdẹ̀dín kan ta lè ṣe sí ju pé a kọ̀ jáde ká sọ fún wọn pa fẹ́ exit Nigeria. Our exit out of Nigeria, ta là ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ gangan? Ta ni à ń communicate message wa fún? Ta ni à ń sọ fún pé a fẹ́ lọ àti pé ta ni kò fẹ́ jẹ́ ká lọ? Gbogbo wa náà láti mọ àwọn tí kò fẹ́ ká lọ. Gbogbo wa ti ní at least knowledge pé ẹni báyìí òun ló ń takò. Kò ń ṣàwa ta gbé Yorùbá nation dání ni à ń dá yín dúró. Kò ń ṣe bàbá Kítóyè ló ń dá yín dúró. Kò ń ṣe Ìgbòho ló ń dá yín dúró. Ìwọ ló ń dá rẹ̀ dúró. Èmi ni mò ń dára mi dúró. Ẹni tó mọ̀ ló ń dá rẹ̀ dúró. Ìgbà tí a bá ti náà fẹ́ lọ, àwọn tá à ń sọ fún yẹn náà tí wọ́n gbọ́, òun ni gbogbo àjọ máa act together. Actness yẹn òun ni ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń dúró bóyá miracle àwọn Biafra máa ṣẹlẹ̀, tí mo tẹ̀ fẹ́ ká lọ sí area yẹn rárá lálẹ́ yìí, torí pé ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n lọ́pọlọ ni ọmọ Yorùbá. But à ń fi ẹ̀rù, à ń jẹ́ kí ẹ̀rù tó máa bà wá kó jẹ́ kí àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ kó wà nínú position kó take advantage tó fi wà níbẹ̀. Ondo State náà ni a ṣe wà lórí ẹ̀ torí pé àwọn ni wọ́n ṣe election lánàá. Kódà wọ́n ní wọ́n ń ka ìdìbò yẹn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí gẹ́gẹ́ bí èyí tí mo monitor ní INEC wọn. But ẹ ká padà sínú history díẹ̀ nínú Ondo State. Torí state yẹn lásán kò jẹ́ kí àtẹ̀gbà pé wọ́n tún hold election kankan níbẹ̀. But ó ti indicate pé Yorùbá ò tí fẹ́ kúrò ní Nàìjíríà. And we're going to spend 50 years the way it is now. Ó ti show pé àìtẹ́ ready bá fẹ́ lọ. Kò sẹ́ni indicator pé a fẹ́ lọ. Torí I expect pé gbogbo ẹni tó wà l'Ondo State ló gbọ́dọ̀ accept tó dẹ̀ believe nínú ìrìn àjò yìí. Àmọ́ election táwọn náà ń ṣe, bó believe in it, wọ́n hold it as the high mark pé òun ni authentic fún that part of Yoruba land. And human occupation. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa history kan tó ń bẹ nínú Ondo State lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ tó ń pè ní Ìwó Elérú. A ti ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ lórí ẹ̀rẹ̀ some years back. Mo kàn touch lórí ẹ̀ torí pé ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú Ondo lálẹ́ ni. Human occupation. Wọ́n tún wá discover nǹkan kan ní 1965 tó ń pè ní fossil discovery. Kí ni wọ́n ń pè ní fossil àti pé kí la mọ̀ sí fossil? History tó ń bẹ nínú Ondo òun ni human fossil, spelled as FOSSIL. I won't spell it bẹ́ẹ̀ níbí báyìí. So we always say Freddy, Oscar, Sugar, India, Lima. Fossil humans are the prehistorical skeletal remains of humans and their ancestors that are older than the Neolithic period, which is roughly about 10,000 years ago. So ní Ondo State yẹn nísìn tí a kàn accept in tí wọ́n ṣe lé wa lórí torí pé à ń dúró nínú media báyìí pé kí Koiki sọ fún yín kẹ́ lọ act. Nígbà tí kò ń ṣe pé Koiki nìkan ni ó jọmọ Yorùbá. À ń dúró kí Ìgbòho sọ fún wa pé ká lọ act. Kódà à ń dúró kí bàbá Kítóyè sọ fún wa pé ká lọ act. Mo láǹfààní àti bá bàbá sọ̀rọ̀ lánàá, but it's always a private conversation, and it's a privilege. Kódà wọ́n tẹ̀ lọ pè mí. He wanted to find one or two information of me. And each time tí bàbá yẹn bá pè mí, it's the same thing tó ń sọ níta náà ni mo máa ń sọ fún wọn pé Yoruba nation, our exit point, how is it going to happen? The same thing tẹ́yìn bí mí náà lèmi náà máa ń bí wọn. Diplomacy, which is the greatest part of anything in life. Diplomacy. But also, he accepted that there will be crisis. Kó tó di pé anybody máa gbọ́ wa. Now, the question is, are we waiting for him to give orders for us to push out? Is a question that many of you probably want to know. Àbí a kò máa dúró nígbà tí wọ́n bá ṣe government 4 years tó ń ṣe lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nísìnyí, because whatever it is now on those states as we're talking that has an history about us that I might mention nísìnyí, an history that ìyẹn nìkan tó láti fi hold the Ondo State to bondage, just like I always talk about Ogun State. The fossil humans tí wọ́n rí ní agbègbè kan ní 1965, ó show pé àwa tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ pa fẹ́ dá dúró yìí, Trump ò ní fún yín ní Yoruba nation. Britain ò ní fún wa ní Yoruba nation. India tí I'm told now that Modi is currently in Nigeria. I'm a sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí in a minute. None of these countries around the world. I love to show you the map. Kódà, the closest ally to Jomo other countries, I'm talking about any government in Africa. I don't have any, Tibatem, I don't have to tell you because I know that they're speaking to countries around the world. But one thing you need to understand is that none of them is going to come to your aid. No countries around the world will come to your aid tí ẹ̀yin tí ẹ jẹ́ ọmọ ìlú yẹn tẹ́ fi exit tẹ́ bá gbé ìgbésẹ̀. It does not matter how brilliant our analyses are. It does not matter how many shows we do in a day. It does not matter how many headlines you're reading. It does not matter how many people that believe or do not believe. It does not matter how many people. What matter is, when do we push out? But that is the question that you want to know, and you have an answer to that, because push out, we will be in Nigeria for 50 years. And it is very easy. Let me tell you how that is going to happen. Because we are still giving the room to the same obstacle. The only obstacle T. Ashin Grant is the election operation in Yoruba land. So let's look at it this way. All they need more for us to remain in Nigeria, I'm talking about àwọn olóṣèlú. I'm speaking in English and Yoruba now, okay? So, because can they balance or it don't need anything for us to exist for the next 50 years. So, and please don't say, could it possible? 50 years. I have lived in this country for 25 years. And I've changed. I know how I got here in terms of my look. Nigeria, okay? So I'm not one of those people that were hungry. Nigeria. I'm proud to always say that. Yes, Mosakuro Nigeria, but Jamie, because I was born with a silver spoon, and I'm proud to say that any day, anytime. Most of Elomi, Iyati Jeda Dapa, Elomi Yayeti Holujue, Kotokuro Nigeria. I am not one of those. Loto, the future that my mom saw is the reason why she's enjoying a pension age today in the UK. And while I am here as well with my family, and I'm still doing my best to make sure that my family that I still have in Nigeria, I know how I'm looking after them. And I will continue to do so because I can afford it. I can afford it. If I feel we only need 3 bags of rice, I will send the money to them and they will buy it. And I don't want my family to suffer. And that's exactly what we have done in 25 years. Brother, may concern message to your family. Only I think, multivitamins, 100,000. I'll send that to him hopefully tomorrow. I will send the 100,000. It's a chicken change to me. It's less than whatever it is, go to 50 pounds. Just like a booster. Many of you will not have that 100,000 for the next 3 months. Now, let's divide 50 by 4 for 4 years in the election in Nigeria, right? That means the politicians only need another 12 cycle of election. 12 cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12.5. Let's cap it as 12. So The 50 years that has become the talk of the discussion, whether it's the amalgamation or not, can't accept what they amalgamate them. But the 50 years itself will run if election continue every 4 years. That means we're going to need 12 cycle. At what point do we stop that cycle? At what point may I think stop accept Ondo State is out of the option now? They've done an election. We can't stop that anymore. An election has been done in Ondo State. And the only thing we can do now is whoever wins the election, maybe we can continue to talk to them and they will probably listen or they will not. I don't know. And that is part of what we called diplomacy. The same way we gave Aketi while he was in power, because our campaign started before he died. And at the end of the day, he died. He didn't even talk about it. He didn't even bother. That shows that, they were not interested. Now, at what point do we put a hold to those operating the Southwest on our behalf? Because Mori Fayoshe, I think he's 60 years old yesterday, according to his brother. He ran the government of Ekiti State, which is equivalent to Ondo State, for 8 years. He left. The next person took the realms of affairs. They've gone. They're also preparing the next set of people. Those people, Tansoy, and when you are known, Moke Ashake TV show, they are the same set of people. These are our people. They are our people. Àwọn Yoruba kan náà tá jọ ń sọ pé whether we want Nigeria, àfẹ́ Nigeria, we want Yoruba, àfẹ́ Yoruba. These are our people. These are our people. The question is, at what point do we stop them? At what point do we stop them? Do we stop them now, or we give them another 12-year cycle? And the 12-year cycle means that 50 years from now, we will still be asking for Yoruba nation. And some of us will not have the strength that we have today. Some of you will still have the strength, but somebody like me will not have that strength anymore. But the only difference is, if God spares our life together with me, I will still be in the system here, enjoying a better life than you. Because I will not see where any changes will happen, but it is so in Nigeria in the next 12 cycle. And I'm using the word 12 cycle to make it convenient for you to understand. Because Tibani 50 years, you might say, oh, Otepeju, but the 12th cycle is 12 more election, Nile Yoruba, to make up the continuity of what is called Nigeria. At what point do we want to stop it? And Talanduro fún, okay, Andro fún Igboho àbí, Andro fún Baba Akintoye. But those two have told us the way out, the options. And like I said at the previous show, Timothy Shetele, ṣé Andro pé kí Baba wa Olóyè Igboho kó wá sínú Nàìjíríà káwa take action or andro kí bàbá kí tó ìtúbọ̀ bá wa sọ fáwọn governors wa pa fẹ́ lọ, which is doing behind the scene and on the public, forum, because they're being communicated to. And maybe you forgot, my reminding while we were with Ninas, and that was when I happened to be in Nigeria. Talonoti Ninas. We had this with Tony Inandi, the Ninas. And Tabanoti Nigbayen, that the Yoruba people gave our governors a time frame for them to pack and wind down. How many of us remember that? I'm just trying to find a little bit information about them. Apparently 2021, and I'm going by the Vanguard newspaper, and the headline says, Ilano Omodua quit Ninas as Professor Akintoye resigned. Ilano Omodua, the umbrella body of the Yoruba self-determination groups, has moved out of the Nigerian Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination. That's the full meaning of Ninas. The acronym is Ninas. Because the full meaning. Just like the Bangbo YSDM Leni, or more the meaning of the YSDM. The YSDM stands for the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement. So what I'm trying to explain to us is that there is an agenda that àwọn governors tá à ń sọ fún pé a fẹ́ exit, àwọn gan ló ń padà exit ara wọn, either through death or through change of government. Because whether we like it or not, Sanwo-Olu, as another case study in Lagos State, is finally winding down after going to complete his 8 years. But the political party that Awan Sofun Pafe exit Nigeria, they're not listening. And they don't want to listen to us. They're already preparing for 2027. I'm sure by next year, Yayi Mama bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń gbé signal jáde pé òun lòun fi di governor Ogun State, because a ní tọ́nù tóun náà ló kàn. I'm sure Seyi Makinde is winding down and is already putting his eyes in the presidential part of Nigeria. Òun fi di president. Adeleke has, I think, another one more time. So he will be contesting to retain the power. Ekiti State, I believe, has just had a new government. So election is not going to happen in 2027. Now, are you getting the message that all these politicians are all aware? And I still want to find out and I want to take us back to a little bit about this, the Ninas. I think it was a proclamation or something. I need to get the right, word for it, because there's been a lot of communication to our governors. And I'm taking us back to the Ninas because I was privileged to be in Nigeria when they had these 90 days something, I'm trying to find out the right word. It's been a while now. If I don't find it now, but I'll pick it up as time goes. So we gave them in 90 days to wind down the government so that we can then discuss. But as usual, they didn't even bother. They didn't bother. Whether Ninas was good or bad is not the issue. That's not the point I'm talking about. My point is that we have been talking, we have been communicating. Well, our governors were on our reason to leave Nigeria officially, direct and indirect communication, and they're fully aware. But are they fully prepared to give you that self-determination? Is a question that I want us to hold on to. I'm not here to talk about the good or the bad of Ninas. It might divert conversation. Àwọn governors wà láfi focus lè kò sí àmọ́ tó ní Nnamdi. Constitution first major. Nítorí ẹ̀kẹ́ fún mi nìyẹn. Ẹ ṣé gan. Don't want to be distracted. Let's focus on the pointer. It's not about Tony Nnamdi now. Right word, Timon Walaten Konye, is called the constitutional force majeure. And now I can pin that and look for that because I was in Nigeria when that force majeure was completed. But as usual, our politicians did not even respond. Kí lẹ rò pé wọ́n ṣe respond sí wa? And I want to bring that constitutional force majeure up in a minute. Constitutional force majeure, Nigeria. Because this was like a pointer, and I think the constitutional force majeure. I'm going back to, I want to see if I can pick it from any of the newspaper. Okay, let's go back to again Vanguard. No, let's go back to Vanguard again, August 2021. This was before the election. I thank so much Safety Domain for reminding me about the constitutional force majeure. That's the right word I was looking for. If we all remember that we're not talking about who or those surrounding Ninas. Our message was to the governors of the state. And if our governors are listening to us, the bulk of the job I am doing here would have been very easy. Number one, they will give room for us to allow our people to listen to us without any hindrance or any kind of scared mongery that I played with the people that want to be free. It would have been very easy. We would have been able to move from towns, villages, cities, and make our campaign clearly to our people. So let's read a bit about this force majeure, because that itself was a clear evidence that there was a communication with our governors, because I was in Nigeria in 2021. I got to Nigeria around January. And this was 2 years before an election. And after this, we are still having another election, which was yesterday in Ondo State. State of the nation, referendum, new constitution must come before 2023 polls. NINAS. I've given you the full acronym of NINAS. This was put together by Gabriel Olawale. The Nigerian Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, on Tuesday said that all lawful means will be explored to ensure that 2023 general elections do not hold unless the federal government conduct a referendum for the aggrieved indigenous nationalities. That did not work. I want us to move a farabalẹ̀ kẹgbọ́n mi bẹ̀ dáadáa. Ní 2021, ọdún méjì kan tó ṣe election tó kọjá lọ yìí. Lawful means, yes, you're right. It was a documented grievances expressed by various kò ń ṣe Yorùbá nìkan ló wà nínú ẹ̀. But point at tèmi fẹ́ káwa mú náà ni pé there was a communication to our own representative nísàlẹ̀ ní Southwest, and Baba Akintoye was our leader that was part of the NINAS until he resigned in August 2021. I was in Nigeria to witness the deadline. Koda, the deadline should have happened in March, but there was some argument that they needed extra 30 days. And that 30 days left to April, the end of April. Teba lọ wo the video tí olóyè ṣe nígbà yẹn that went viral. That should have been the stoppage of Nigeria, of Yoruba people. Ìgbà yẹn gan ló yẹ kí stoppage yẹn ti wà, because olóyè said we will shut down the borders. But do you know that the same people that are in government and the ones that are not in government were the first to attack Oloye that he has no right to go and close the borders? How many of you remember that video? Talo ti wo video yẹn rí? You will see me right behind Igboho and Baba Akintoye Mokolo face mask behind, because there was COVID and the diaspora were going cuckoo about me not using face mask and all that. If you go and watch the video, I was the one right behind Igboho, and that's what I told him, that I will be the one to shield him. I will be standing shoulder to shoulder with him. But when that video was produced, when Igboho said such, Nijoyen, if àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá bá believe in the movement, right, the next day yẹn gangan should be the shutdown of Yoruba people from Nigeria, because we already communicated to our governors that we are going to go out of Nigeria, but we will do it lawfully. Some argue that Igboho does not have the right, because the right to niye will not affect to anything, because as long as we continue to say that ni right láti ṣe anything, we will be in Nigeria for 50 years, and that's 12th cycle of election. Let's go further. According to NINAS, the Nigerian Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination, there must be a referendum first to decide if we want Nigeria. Then we talk about a new constitution before 2023 general election. Let's fast forward. As Beshima fast forward, in another 50 years, if we are still here talking as we are right now, there will be 12 more elections in Yoruba land that will push us to the 50-year cycle by the politicians, whether they are alive or dead. Look, Akeredolu died. The politics continue in Ondo State. And the Ondo State, before we go out of that history that we were meant to touch on, we come back to the NINAS. Now, Mutini template in Timothy look from the NINAS. I'll come back to them in a minute. Let's go back to the history, because history our fake padasi, not the one that the British 419, the criminal Britain. Look, I live with them And I am never scared, and I will never be scared to tell them that Britain is a criminal country that destroyed who we are today. And if we are not going to act, we will remain in Nigeria for the 50 years. I am not talking about the amalgamation now. I am talking about a fraudulent system known as election. We will continue to have election every 4 years, and you will see whether it's vote buying or not vote buying. Because the people that they are buying votes and the people that are selling votes wants to sell the vote to the people that are hungry, that wants to buy. We need to stop that. How we stop it is what you're asking me, when you know how we need to stop it. Because if you don't stop it, you will become part of the people that will end up even asking for money to be bought. Because surely what you want me to Nigeria, whether àgbàlagbà nìyẹn, ọmọdé nìyẹn, ọ̀dọ́ nìyẹn, olóṣó nìyẹn, prostitute nìyẹn, university, you would end up collecting less than what they are giving now in the next 12 years. And that will be 3 cycles of election. Because about 4, 8, another 4, that's 12. So in another 12 years, if they are offering 5,000 now, they'll be offering you 1,000 and you will accept it. Because by that time, ibi tó máa ti wọlé sí yín lára ó máa le ju ilé ìtàn experience lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nísìn. Because I was listening to a particular YouTube video by a young Nigerian, a Yoruba precisely. She ended up in UK finally, but she was, and I wanted to just to let you know that she mentioned that when she applied for a visa in 2012, she was banned. I can give you the video to go and watch. I was just privileged to see the video today. Kilo shit off a banner. As usual, all the fake documents that we all submit when we're trying to apply for visas, especially if you're a novice, and it's got to do with a bank account. I don't want to go into the area because my platform is well monitored by a lot of different agencies. So when it comes to area here, I don't want to give too much out. But the point at when she was changing 3,250 pounds, as at that time, the exchange rate was less than 200 naira to a pound, according to what she says, or somewhere around there. I hope I'm right. But at least exchange rate, Tabalowo exchange rate 2012 and Tobanoti 2012. The exchange rate today is now 2,200 pounds. No, 2,200 naira to 1 pound. But nígbà tó wọ́n apply for visa yẹn, that was 200 naira to a pound. Now, in total, Momsi Temi kúrò Nigeria was just less than $30, 30 naira to a dollar. That was in the 90s. So, Shelly, the projection is getting worse. It's not going to get better. And that's why I said, many of you will take 1,000 naira in the next 12 years just for them to buy you out. Because you will not have the strength. Okay, yeah. Somebody said it's about 250 naira. I think she said about 200, somewhere around there. But at least it makes sense. 2012. So, whoever traveled out in 2012 to that dollar be pounds can now ask question that, is anything going to change now in the next 12 years? I'm not talking about 50 years now. I'm just capping it to 12 years. And that 12 years means that 3 cycles of elections. One is coming again in 2027. I'm not here to tell you that there's not going to be election. That is your own problem, not my problem. because I don't live in Nigeria. But I am working to make sure that we stop that election by campaigning awareness, but not for me to say, go this election. I'm not going to tell you there's not going to be election, because there'll be election, because people want to have election. They want to collect the 5,000 naira, and then they'll come back and say they don't have good medical, they don't have good health care, they don't have good education, good security. And I wonder why the king, and people are excited. I'm not excited about it. He's building a place that people cannot even live in there, in the surroundings, because Ooni of Ife have just built a park that there's no security in that state. Because Ekiti State, Toloko Kiniesi, is prone to the Fulani's attack frequently on a daily basis. So they are building when there's no security. Ooni should be talking about how we exit Nigeria and we can protect the borders to start with, not building a Georgia park. I'm not interested in that park because it's a waste of time. I'm sorry to say. You share intention build Sino Southwest with the current state of things. Some of you will never live in that place. Ooni fúnra rẹ̀ gan lè gbé nínú park yẹn every day. I dare him to live there every day if he will not be attacked by the same Fulanis that we're talking about. Because I have told you 2 weeks ago, he needs to be very careful. But they will attack him. How soon is what I don't know. But the intelligence that I got is that Ooni of Ife will be attacked by the Fulanis. But it's possible. But I'm attacking. And I'm not one of your prophecy, okay? I am talking from intelligent now. Ilé ìṣòro orin kankan náà, ìran ọ̀tọ̀. Ẹni tó ń ríran, ó ní nǹkan tó ń rí. Ẹni tí intelligent wá bá evidence ni. And don't ask me to give you that evidence. But Ooni is very likely. Bí UK ṣe wà. Ṣẹ́rí, the problem with Yoruba people is that tábà jókòó síbà tá à ń sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ báyìí. Ní báwo ló ṣe máa ṣẹlẹ̀? UK tí mò ń gbé is on substantial level. It is like, look, I can get a news right now, breaking news that they've attacked somewhere in any part of the UK because terrorists wants to attack us in this country. So, Kiwali Tiba Sokuwa attack Ooni, it's not because I hate him. I'm just giving him the warning. It's up to him to beef up his security and the spiritual aspect of it. But he will likely be attacked. That likely is likely. Just like UK, anytime we can get a breaking news that this country has been attacked again, just like it was. I pray not, but prayer because most of you are buffoons. You are idiots. You're thinking that your prayer means that people will not be killed. Many people have been killed. 1,500 people were killed in October. Are you prayerful more than them? No, you're stupid. Very stupid Yoruba people. Idiot all over the place. So you think that prayer at anything, you must stop for Fulani Fulani now. Tí Fulani bá rí ẹ tó bá ṣe prayer gan máa fìbọn fọ́ orí ẹ̀ dànù. I'm trying to be very calm with this program so that I can pass the message. Orí yín ò pé tá à ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ nílé. Tẹ́ ń rò pé àwọn olóṣèlú máa fún yín láyè pé ká kọ́ gba Yorùbá nation if we are not going to hold them accountable for the destructions of millions of the lives of Yoruba people. At least we have 60 million Yoruba people across the Southwest. Wọ́n wá ń jẹ́ kó yé wa pé ní 1965 arákùnrin kan wà tó ń pè ní ṣẹ́rí òyìnbó iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n ní pé kọ́ fún wa ní èyí tó dá lọ́dọ̀ tiwọn. Whereas àwọn bàbá ńlá wa wọ́n mọ̀ pa kìíní yẹn. But because we are idiot Yoruba people, orí wa ò pé à ń dúró kí òyìnbó máa ṣàlàyé fún wa pé nǹkan tó rí yẹn o arákùnrin ló kọ́kọ́ rí. That's what they want me to believe. But I'm not going to believe that, especially tó bá wá látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn òyìnbó yìí. I'm not believing it. Sherry stage tí èmi dé nísìn I trust nothing out of them. That's why I'm not scared of Britain. I live here. I know most of you tẹ́ ń gbé níbí bá àyà yín já bí a torí ẹ níwèé torí ẹ fẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́. Look, I am not scared. Treason of whatever I am doing, let them charge me for anything. Ikú kan ló kúkú máa pààyàn kan níjọ́ kan anyway. But ẹ̀rù tó ń ba púpọ̀ nù yín òun ni kò jẹ́ kí ìrìn àjò yìí kó rìn síwájú tó fi wà níbi tó wà yìí. And if care is not taken, it will last 50 years. Those of you on Instagram, it's gonna go up, but I'm coming back because 1 hour la fún wa lórí ẹ̀. Ẹ̀rù yẹn òun ni ó ń pa yín díẹ̀díẹ̀. Àtàwọn tá à ń gbé níbí. Ẹ má yẹ kí Koiki sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Dad, ó gbúdúlù, ó gbàlagbàlà. And one day we'll all just die anyway. How soon la come? So let's just go with the article. Since tí ààrí Yorùbá tó sọ fún wa pé ìwo eléérú o, àwọn baba ńlá wa mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀. Koiki má jẹ́ kí òyìnbó fún ẹ ní kọ́gbẹ́ ní gógó, because iṣẹ́ òyìnbó ni pé kó promote agenda tiwọn, just like Britain is doing right now, using our political system to laugh at us as stupid people, because that was stupid. 2021, because when I went to Nigeria in 2021, I didn't expect that by now Ashima went to Nigeria. We saw Igboho in that vibe action. We saw Baba Akintoye in that vibe action. They are still in that action. But we didn't get enough support from the politicians because they were part of the agenda. Àwọn gangan ní agenda. And they knew that the Yoruba people were ready to pull out. But yet, there was a serious agenda to make sure that that doesn't happen. And that's why we are still in Nigeria today. By now, we should not be in Nigeria again. Let's look at it as an example. 2021. Let's count from that year. 2022, 23, 24. Ati wà nínú ogun for 3 years. Ogun yẹn ti máa wind down by. Ogun tí ó jẹ́ ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní 2021. Ati máa wind down nísìn. There will have been death. There will have been destruction. There will have been hunger. There will have been refugees. But in that 3 years, we would have been on a round table with the world, and our demands would have been met. But we've already lost that plot. We've lost it completely. We've lost that 3 years. So what we have now given them is that we are now giving them more room to shield quickly. And whoever is fighting must understand how to defend. Because the more you lose the plot to defend, the more the enemies will penetrate. The UK right now, after the 2005, continue to defend and protect us in this country. But even with all their protections, we are still likely to be attacked by terrorists. And this is an advanced country. Tobani advanced, the oldest democracy, Koda America gone Barawansile in 17 whatever they took their freedom. A country that how they were able to do all these things, but what they did in 200 years, Koda, if I was an English person, I conquer gbogbo, even though tó bá wá reverse padà sẹ́yìn, because it's an astonishment for me to read history now and realize that UK was so powerful that for 200 years, what they hold oríṣiríṣi ìlú, àwọn olùtọ́ dẹ̀ hold yẹn Nàìjíríà dẹ̀ jẹ́ kan náà a dẹ̀ fi pull out. Does that make sense? ṣé n tí mo sọ yẹn ṣó yé yín bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn? The same set of ìlú tá à ń complain pé wọ́n ṣe dáadáa sílẹ̀ Yorùbá yìí tá à ń pè ní United Kingdom. We are still giving them the room to even breathe and tell us directly or indirectly that this is how things will be operating with partnership, strategic, and all these garbage that they're discussing. 1776, the US pull out and got their freedom. 2075, the Yoruba will probably be getting ready to pull out as well. Mokia Tobi Miloma, good morning and welcome to the program. 2075, Yoruba Nama prepare, let it exit. Let's go back to Iweleru because there is something unique about Ondo State, Tashinsoro Ilori, that can give us everything to start a country. I was talking about Ogun State yesterday. No, I believe day before yesterday. We can also take Ondo as another state to prepare for the exit of the Yorubas. I think I was using the word hijack, and somebody called and said, Koiki, don't ever use the word hijack on your show. The Yoruba land belongs to us. And the word hijack is not the right word. We are taking what belongs to us. Gegebi awatiani. So the question now is, how do we take it back? How do we speak to Ayeta Diwa, Shaida Diwa on the PDP? I don't know who's going to win the election. How do we convince them that we want Yoruba nation and we want to run the Yoruba country and have Ondo as part of it, and they're going to listen to us? How do we tell them? How do we communicate to Moki Yoruba Nation Lafayette TV? Moki Yoruba Nation, those are our medias, and I have to greet my mom. But when you talk on Mori, and I can say your comment, I could pick some of your comments so that you know that I can read it as well. So let's quickly pick one comment that is coming through, or 2 or 3 comments, then we'll continue the program. Dizzy Man says, China built a modern economy in 30 years. The Yoruba nation with a new blueprint can rebuild back a modern political economy capable of competing with advanced economy by 2045. That's 5 years before the 50 years. So in 45 years, 45, if we move faster now, we can guarantee that we would have a modern political economy. I was listening to Kemi Badenoch on the Wednesday program that she did. She's a very good, orator. Obashi, Labour Secretary of State. Finish a woman. I don't know whether you've watched that video. That is who we are. We are good communicators. And that is why they say Yoruba lo mo kale, whether through your language, which is Yoruba, or through English. But in kokonti tashin lack only the aggressiveness of us to react quickly to pull things down. Okay, 2045 is the next 21 years. Okay. All right, Shegon, 2045 will be the next 21 years. Not even close to half of what I have. So that means that if we do whatever, and I'm not going to be here telling you, oh, we're going to fight, no, because that is not the reason why we're sitting here. Because I know that is where some of the people that caught my video, they love to hear, I'm a babe, I'm a 4 hour. No. Everybody knows what we're going to do. I'm just here to do the same thing that we are good at. The delivering of messages. Ọmọ bàbá Koiki. I wish I can be like Koiki. Wọ́n bó ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀, ó ní àyà. But ǹjẹ́ àyà yẹn a lè fi ṣe action ibi tí a ṣe ń lack nìyẹn? That is the only lackness that we have among our táwa níta àtẹ̀yìn tẹ́ wà nínú ilé. But in 2021, going back again, Igboho gbé àyà yẹn jáde. Let's shut down the borders. Ṣé àwọn kó tó bá yẹ pa ti shut down borders ní 2021? Kí lẹ rò pé by now ibi tá a máa wà? Ṣé mọ̀ pé wọ́n tẹ̀ ní láǹfààní àti lọ attack ẹ̀ nílé? Bó ṣe lọ attack ẹ̀ because Igboho spoke in April. It took them May, June, July. It took the Fulani 3 months to plan to attack him back because of what he said in April. Because our Yoruba refused to back what Igboho said. We are the one that gave the Fulanis the opportunities láti lọ attack Igboho. Àwa la fún wọn láyè because of our stupidity. We ká kọ̀ mọ̀rọ̀ sọ, ká má ní ìgbésẹ̀ tá fi gbélé lórí. And that's exactly what we are doing again this time. Barely 3 months tí olóyè sọ pé ká shut down borders ni wọ́n wá fi pa sílé. Wọ́n ò lóhùn pa o, àmọ́ wọ́n mú ẹ̀mí méjì lọ, k'Ọlọ́run foríjì àwọn ẹ̀mí méjèèjì náà. And we are running the same cycle again. Tí a bá continue by, we will last 50 years in Nigeria and nothing is going to happen. So 50 years, tá à ń gbọ́ tó ń sọ yẹn, it will come true. I pray not, but we are not reacting to stopping that. I do not pray for such, but we are likely to find ourselves in it because we are given rooms, because the governors electing on those states will manage whatever the amount of budget tó bá gbélé lọ́wọ́ through the monthly fake allocation, the Federal Executive Council. And that means that àwọn ò ní ríru owó bẹ́ẹ̀ láti fi pull out, whereas àwọn máa ní owó lọ́wọ́ láti fi suppress gbogbo wa. Because whoever becomes the next governor of Ondo State for the next 4 years will have access to cash in large quantity. And those cash will continue to be used to suppress me and the rest of the Yoruba people in Ondo State and across the boundaries. Let's go back to Iweleru one more time. Okay, we're going into our Lori Joko. It's coming up to 1:28 a.m. Sunday, 17th of November, 2024, Koikimedia. Wọ́n arákùnrin kan tó ń pè ní Charles Tostan Shaw. Òun ni ó kúrò ní òyìnbó ní o. Ó ń rìnrìn gbèrè níbi tí ọmọ Yorùbá ti ń gbé, níbi tí ìran wa wà, níbi tí Ọlọ́run dá orí wa lé lórí, níbi tí gbogbo wa gbà pé ibẹ̀ gangan ni orísun wa. Èèyàn kan ṣẹ̀ wá dé ní 1965. òun àti àwọn team ẹ̀, just like because David Lamini Kokolo traveled on Nigeria, he went with a team of people. When we have brilliant Yoruba people that can tell me that Yoruba will have a better opportunity in 21 years, not even 25. In 21 years, we can transform the whole of Yoruba land. That could have two of them, but the same Yoruba people are pulling us behind because we want everybody. We want Bodo so that to exit so that come about Sunkun. And that means that they will drag every one of us in the mud. And that's exactly what is happening now. Because I watched a couple of the videos that were sent to me from Ondo State, and I saw a few where a particular one, Timori, Arakunye, Ghana must go Meji, Ogbesenyi Moto, Wanikoshi Bute, Kofeshi. She booted. Oh yeah, she boot. Eventually, àwọn DSS náà wọ́n dé. Kódà wọ́n jẹ́ kó ṣí báàgì yẹn, but wọ́n ṣí boot. Do you know that all that is just a distraction? The guy was only given the privilege to be rescued so that kí aráàlú má bàa lynch ẹ̀. So whoever that guy was working for got the same DSS tó fi wá pa Ìgbòho sílé láti rescue arákùnrin. We all saw the video. Don't tell me to show you. We've all seen the video. If you haven't seen the video, go and look for it. This was in Ondo State yesterday. What I'm trying to understand is that ṣé wọ́n dè wá ní pé ká má react? Oh, and do the Igboho. But Igboho told us to react in 2021. We didn't react. Rather, we condemn him in 2021. So why expect pé kí Igboho kó gbéra nísìn láti Germany ó yá máa bọ̀ ní Nàìjíríà torí a fẹ́ gba Yorùbá nation? When táwa fún ara wa gan àgbégbèsè. Ṣebí gbogbo àlá ní pé we are all Igboho. What are we scared of? That is still something that baffles me. Kí ni nǹkan tá à ń bẹ̀rù? Okay, àbímọ àfẹ́yẹ́ káwọn ọmọ wa kú, àfẹ́ kú, àyà wa ń já. Yet, we can see the pains. Only UCH, ó jẹ gbèsè, wọ́n disconnect the whole hospital, wọ́n disconnect nínú ibẹ̀. And that for us is not moving us. Do you know that people that are in that hospital that went there for a particular problem, they're likely to die? At what point are we going to do the needful? Because Baba Akintoye ò dá anybody dúró, Igboho ò dá anybody dúró. I know that because I speak to them on a daily basis. Baba Akintoye bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ lánàá. He called me yesterday. But definitely, from my own looking at things. Let's move swiftly because of the time. wọ́n ní arákùnrin tán pè ní Thurston Shaw came to Ondo State, or as at that time it was the Western region, Kotis Ondo State, because Ondo was only carved out in 1966, according to Bashigbo. Onwati Time. And when they were moving around as an explorer, because gbogbo táwọn òyìnbó ṣe throughout the life of their colonialization or colonizer, they were exploring. Sherry, everybody wants to survive. Ilé ayé, ìyẹn ló ṣe pè ní survivor of the fittest. Everybody wants to survive. So, and especially countries around the world, to get way, they need other things for them to survive, especially the European countries. One need the Africa to survive. Nobody, Sherry Bobo, history, need the money. How do we either tell them with not words alone now, with other actions surrounding it, that Teba Nidiwa, especially Nilewa, Egbolo renegotiate Pelua? That is the area that we have not been able to deal with. We have dealt with all other areas very well. But nítorí pé àwọn kan nínú wa lára àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá, they still see the privilege that Britain tèmi ń gbé, tí mo ti gbé for 25 years, that there is still good in them. Look, and I like the way Baba Akintoye say it all the time. Our first number one enemy is Britain. Yes, giving them the letter on the 12th was the best thing that we've ever done in this movement. Even though I do not have knowledge of the content of the letter. But we are now still waiting for Igboho to come to Nigeria and lead a rally. Is that what we're waiting for? The same Igboho to sọ fún wa ní 2021, we can shut down borders. Ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ ti gbogbo border. Ẹ rántí video yẹn náà. And today, I saw a video that I cried inside. Àwọn Fúlàní, yẹ pẹ̀lú àwọn Yorùbá àti Igbo ní borders, wọ́n wá strip naked. Àwọn ìyá wa put rice sábẹ́ aṣọ. How many people saw the video? Our mothers were stripped naked. Wọ́n ní kí ìyá yẹn kó bọ́. Kódà ó fẹ́ lè ní kó bọ́ pátá. How many people saw that video? I'm sure it's a new video. Kò ń ṣe old video. Ṣé old video ní ṣàbí new? I'm sure it's a new video. Ṣé mo pé right there at that point níbi tíṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ń ṣẹlẹ̀, kò jẹ́ kí station àbí checkpoint yẹn, ó yẹ kí a ti sọ pé ìyẹn ò sí lára ilẹ̀ Yorùbá mọ́. So ẹ̀ ń dúró kí Ìgbòho fún yín ní order. Ẹ̀ ń dúró kí Baba Akintoye fún yín ní order. Ẹ̀yin ò rí fídíò yẹn ni, ẹ̀yin ò lè react sí. If I was in Nigeria, bí ṣe lọ́lé ní 2021 yẹn, if I dare has to come back again to Nigeria this time around, prepare for the worst case scenario. That's why people are saying, don't go now, don't go now, don't go now. My mom is pleading with me not to think about going now. Because Sherry 2021 here, I am now even more bitter than 2021. But I were bitter. And that's why àwọn diaspora ní Koiki, just don't worry yourself too much. Àwọn tẹ̀ ń jà fún gan, they are not ready. So you want me to tell you what to do with that checkpoint yẹn kò jẹ́ kí sójà lè dúró sí checkpoint yẹn, even if it's just for 2 days. Ó yẹ kó gbọ́ nípa pé ọmọ Yorùbá ni wá. And you don't have to go with weapons, but we can go with a lot of things. Because mo mọ̀ pé ibi tí mind yín, brain yín lọ ni pé bí ká kó bọ́n lọ síbẹ̀ ká lọ dàbí náà. Ṣé ẹni ẹ láwọn oògùn kéékèèké kan tẹ ní ẹ̀yẹn kọ́ lọ display àwọn oògùn yẹn kẹ débẹ̀ kẹ nà wọ́n ní nǹkan kọ́ máa datọ́ tó bá máa kú nú wọn kó gbàbẹ̀ kó máa gbàbẹ̀ lọ sọ́run. Àwa wá ń fi fídíò yẹn wá ń jù láti platform kan sí platform kan. Àwa ń pe Ìgbòho ní Germany. Àwọn kan tẹ̀ ń pè mí lánàá send message sí mi kí mi sọ fún Ìgbòho pé wọ́n yọ wọ́n lẹ́nu ní mo post mẹ́kọ ẹ̀yin bomb bastard. Journalist tiẹ̀ kò á fake information ló máa fún yàn orí bàbá ò pé tí bàbá ẹ̀ ń sanwó fún mi ṣé ìwọ ń sanwó fún mi. Bó bá ṣe wù mí ni ṣé máa gbé ọ̀rọ̀ mi kalẹ̀ lórí social media. Ẹni tó bá fẹ́ kú nú yín kó kú, ẹni máa yè ló kú. Because ìrìn àjò tá gbé dání èmi mọ̀ pé 1 million people ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ máa bá lọ. Gbéyàn kan ní kú yẹn rọ làpá ẹ̀mí máa bá lọ. Ẹ̀mí tó máa bá lọ láì tí mọ̀ bàbá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí ní ẹ̀mí tí ń bá lọ. Ẹ̀mí ò bá lọ ni wọ́n shut down electricity ni. Do you know the meaning of electricity in the hospital? I don't think you know that. Lè mọ̀ náà. Ẹ lọ bèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn ní UCH láàárọ̀ ọ̀la pé èèyàn mélòó ló ti kú lẹ́yìn ìgbà tó ti múná bẹ̀ lọ. Bó jẹ́ èèyàn kan ló kú, ọmọ Yorùbá kan náà ló kú. What we are reacting to is just bó ṣe ṣẹlẹ̀, and that's all. We move on. React pé bó jẹ́ àwa mẹ́ta àwa márùn-ún kí wọ́n ká lọ dán bẹ̀ yẹn wò kọ́ mọ̀ pé ọmọ Yorùbá wá síbẹ̀. Nígbà tá a bá dán bẹ̀ wò, àwọn tó kù wá sọ fún wọn pé àwọn wèrè ọmọ Yorùbá kan wá o. Wọ́n náà rí fídíò tí wọ́n strip. Ẹ má tún strip ẹnì kankan naked. Do you know the billions of dollars owó tí Britain ń gbé jáde kúrò ní Nàìjíríà táwọn olórí burúkú DSS àti immigration tó ṣe nǹkan kan sí? Do you know how many billions of dollars? And that will take me quickly to India. From this video, we're going to watch or listen to rather, because I'll watch it. Àwọn fi wá tajà. Àwa stupid. Àwa fún wọn láyè. Okay, one is a new video. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. So, new video ni video yẹn. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ bí Modi àti Indian fi ṣe. This is the visit of the India Prime Minister, tó ń pè ní Modi. Ó ti wà ní Nàìjíríà nísìn. Ìyàwó mi tó wà ní India yẹn, ẹ̀mọ́ girl yẹn, Palikisa, voice ẹ̀ la máa gbọ́ nísìn. She's doing exactly what she believes is good for our people. I am doing exactly what I believe is good for Yoruba people. So gbogbo tó ń bá sọ, I am not against it. But àwa stupid. Tábà stupid, ó yẹ kí by now tó bá jẹ́ pa activate ní 2021, India máa wà lára àwọn tó ṣe màmá bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ pé mọ̀ pé ẹ fẹ́ lọ. Tẹ́ sọ fún apá ẹ fẹ́ lọ. Nísìta tí màmá fẹ́ lọ yẹn, káwa má ti bá Nàìjíríà ṣe business kankan mọ́ nísìn. Káwa bá ṣe máa yanjú ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀yin àti Nàìjíríà. Lẹ́yìn náà máa dá dúró àjọ máa wá ṣòkòwò torí a ní epo tó pọ̀ ní Ondo State bí ṣe gbọ́. Kódà a ní epo tó pọ̀ ní Ogun State. India bought $10 billion of crude oil in 2021-22. A máa gbọ́ díẹ̀ nísìn lọ́dọ̀ mo kàn brief yín sílẹ̀ torí mi ti gbọ́ news yẹn. Wọ́n fi ṣe strategic partnership pẹ̀lú Nàìjíríà because àwa ṣì ń fún gbogbo ìlú láyè because máa ṣe strategic partnership. Tó bá fẹ́ ṣe strategic partnership pẹ̀lú Nàìjíríà, wọ́n ní right to do so. This program ends in 30 minutes. I don't want it to be more than 2 hours. Let's listen to it.
Prime Minister Modi is traveling to Nigeria. He starts a 3-nation tour on Saturday. Now, Guyana and Brazil, as you know, are in South America, and Nigeria is in Africa. So this stop may seem a bit off, but it's deliberate and significant. This is the first time in 17...
Sherry, message code ló wà nínú ẹ̀. Every message láyé code wà nínú message yẹn. Ó wá kó bó ṣe fẹ́ yọ code yẹn. So when I post things on social media and you stupid persons bí mi pé, oh, give us more information, orí ò pé. Information tèmi fún ẹ yẹn, ìwọ ni o máa wá code ẹ̀ pé kí ni Koiki ń try láti sọ. Ó ní this is exactly the same thing tí UK sọ fún wa nígbà tó rán David Lammy lọ. Arábìnrin náà wá jẹ́ kó yé wa pé this is very important traveling. In 17 years, ẹ máa gbọ́, in 17 years, kò sí prime minister kankan tó lọ sí Nàìjíríà rí. In 17 years. So kí ni àwọn rí nísìn after 17 years tí Modi wá sọ pé ọmọ ó rà ń pé ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yẹn tí Tinubu wà ń bẹ̀ nísìn bí àìmí náà lè rí nǹkan kan tà lá tó lè rí nǹkan kan tà fún mi because Tinubu fúnra rẹ̀ yẹn agbénita lòun gbogbo tó bá lè tà ló fi tà lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ nísìn. It's just opening Nigeria to every dick and harry. Ẹni tó bá lè rà wá rà kò fẹ́mi náà lówó. Literally òun ò ní ìdówó yẹn but ó ń prepare Ṣèyí Tinubu àtàwọn ọmọ ẹ̀wẹ́ even tóun bá wà ní old age. That is what Tinubu is doing. Because he doesn't need all the money that he is looking for. Ìyàwó ẹ̀ gan sọ náà wọn àwọn olówó tiwọn. So owó kọ́ lòun wá mọ́ nísìn. Is kódà a gbọ́ pé CIA asset ni. So the world that you are waiting for to help us out is evil until we strangulate them. Kó lè favor àwa. But the fact that we don't want to strangulate them means that we're all going to suffer the consequence of it and we will remain in Nigeria for 50 more years. I have to do a bit of analysis because it will come on a video here. So let's go back to the video from where we stopped.
This is the first time in 17 years that an Indian Prime Minister is visiting Nigeria. There are 54 countries in Africa. Nigeria has the biggest population and the second largest economy. It is also a strategic partner of India. There is a growing economic...
That word strategic, only David Lammy low. The same Modi, India is using the same word, strategic. One need in Nigeria for their strategic. But about Nigeria, Yoruba ló sọ indirectly.
Relationship, both sides are expanding ties in areas like energy and defense. More than 200 Indian companies have invested in Nigeria. Their investment is...
More than 200 Indian companies has invested in Nigeria. How many Nigerian companies low invest in India? 200 companies don't say give and take. Kama Swasodun. There be 80 ló wà nílẹ̀ Yoruba. The Indian companies don't show it. 80 of it. Operation one, Tabanika Lowo, the southwest part of Nigeria. Kamaba Mukupon Mukoramu 80. I'm sure gbogbo náà lè mọ àwọn Indian companies yẹn ẹ̀dẹ̀ mọ́ bó ṣe operate pẹ̀lú yín nílé bó ṣe ń gbé ọjà fún yín ẹ̀rọ àwọn ìyá wa wọ́n ti gbajà lọ́wọ́ Indian ọ̀rẹ́ bàbá mi náà gbajà lọ́wọ́ Indian. My mom traveled to Bombay many years back nígbà tí mo wà ní secondary school àti primary school route kan tó máa ń ná nìyẹn Bombay. India took themselves out of Britain mess 1983 precisely ni mo sì ni máa ń ná bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn gan kò lè rí pé èmi máa sọ fún yín pé èmi ò ṣe ọmọ tí yà ń jẹ púpọ̀ mi yóò mọ̀ nípa travelling èmi ti ń gbọ́ pé wọ́n ń travel nínú ilé tiwa bébí gbọ́njú mọ́ ni. This same India a máa padà sórí fídíò yẹn. The projection is that the economy is buoyant. Reason tó dẹ̀ ṣe ń buoyant ni pé gbogbo ọ̀dọ́ wọn pátá they are well trained. Tó bá ní well trained in terms of education. Ṣé gbọ́ nísìn pé a ṣì máa gbọ́ débẹ̀ hopefully wọ́n ní epo but wọ́n ní tó ń pè ní human capacity which is what we need in the near future. We don't need the crude oil. What we need is ká train ara wa kí government wa back wa kó fún wa ní that training ká wá lọ ta training wa yẹn ká lọ ta síta as an asset. Gbogbo àwọn tech company tẹ́ ń rí lẹ́nu pátá ẹ lọ review wọn. There's an Indian indigene behind it. Google ni o, Microsoft ni o, anything tech India ló wà níbẹ̀. Ẹ wo etí Tinubu tẹ̀yìn pọ́nlé ẹ wo tó sọ àwọn ọmọ wa dì ní Southwest lẹ́nu. Ẹ wo ibi tí àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá wà. Indian is running a knowledge economy ẹ ṣe gan ní safety domain. So ìwọ tí mò ń polongo Yorùbá nation fún ṣó mọ̀ pé knowledge yẹn asset ní fáwa torí tí ìjọba Yorùbá bá train ẹ dáadáa kó tó lè wá gbé ẹ kúrò nílẹ̀ Yorùbá pé wọ́n fi gbé ẹ lọ síta ò ní lọ fọ̀dí ò ní lọ fọbọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ṣe fọbọ́ for 20 years or yes kátà sọ pé 15 because hotel ni mo ṣiṣẹ́ for over 15 years ò ní ṣe kitchen porter ò ní wá máa wá Uber níta wọ́n bí gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì wa dà lọ́jọ́ iwájú wọ́n bí wọ́n dá ni mo sọ pé ọmọ Yorùbá ta train ta fi owó train a wá lọ wá Uber níta ní Amẹ́ríkà wọ́n bí gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì náà dà kódà ogun kejì la fẹ́ gbé dé bá wọn nìyẹn àwọn gan ní dánwò. That is why China ní ọmọ Chinese tó ń wá Uber ní UK. Èèyàn mélòó lẹ́yìn nígbà tẹ́yìn tí ń lọ tẹ́yìn pé Uber Chinese mélòó lẹ́yìn rí nígbà tẹ́yìn pé Uber tó dé because government wọn rán wọn wá kọ́ wá gbóyìnbó ni but asset ni wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ padà sílé tó bá padà sílé country tó bá wá nídìí wọn ó máa san owó tó pọ̀ láti wá gbé wọn kúrò ní China. That is the Yoruba nation tá à ń sọ ẹgbẹ́ sẹ́ni gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ Fúlàní tẹ́ ń dárúkọ yẹn kékeré ni. Assets. That is what we are asking for us to fight for, to against. Ṣé àwọn government táwọn àárín lẹ́nìí tí wọ́n sọ fún ọmọ Yorùbá kó gbé owó sínú bag kó gbé lọ sí polling unit kó wá máa auction ṣé wàá dìbò fún wa ká fún ẹ ní 5,000 ọmọ Yorùbá tó lè mú owó kúrò nílé tẹ́bí dẹ̀ ń pa mo ní tó bá dé 12 years from now ẹ máa gba 1,000 naira lọ́wọ́ olóṣèlú láti dìbò fún wọn. Ẹ máa gba kí ni mo sọ 1,000 naira kódà inú yín máa dùn láti gba 1,000 yẹn pé ẹ fún wa ní 1,000. Inú yín máa ṣe kí ni ẹ máa wà so excited pé kó fún yín ní 1,000 pé kẹ́ fi dìbò fún wọn. Mo fẹ́ mú jáde ní mo ní 1,000. This is what you'll be bidding for in 12 years from now. Because olóṣèlú náà máa sọ fún yín pé àwọn ní 5,000 ṣó máa gba 1,000 ó dà ẹ fún mi ní 1,000. Wàá máa gbà pẹ̀lú ìdùnnú. Kódà èèyàn kan sọ fún mi níbí báyìí nínú comment section pé Ọlọ́run nìkan ni boss. Ó ní boss. Some are even collecting recharge card. Ẹ wá ń wẹ́n tó kọ̀ máa wá sórí program tó máa pariwo tó máa lament nígbà tí a mọ pain tí gbogbo àjọ ń go through nígbà tá a dẹ̀ mọ tó yẹ ká ṣe à ń dúró kí Ọọ̀ni ọ̀fífẹ́ fún wa ní go ahead. Mo ń bèrè ni o à ń dúró kí Awùjalẹ̀ sọ fún wa pé a gbọ́dọ̀ jáde nínú Nàìjíríà. À ń dúró fún Àkárìgbò. À ń dúró fún àwọn ọba. Mo ń bèrè ni àbá ń dúró fún bàbá Afẹ́nifẹ́re méjèèjì àwọn bàbá tó jẹ́ pé they are at their final exit. Mo rí tán kọrin fún Ọbásanjọ́ tó rí tán lórí ẹ̀ wú ẹni tó yẹ kíyàn lagi mọ́ lórí. Ẹni tó yẹ kíyàn lagi mọ́ lórí. Bàbá Ọọ̀ni ọ̀fífẹ́ báwo lẹ ṣe ń ṣe báyìí? Sometimes I wonder ṣé ọba nìyí àbí báwo torí ọba táwa máa ń gbọ́ King Charles ò ń lọ gbèrègbèrè bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń jáde náà lọ bá King Charles kékeré ní tó bá máa mú King Charles jáde nínú palace there's a protocol there's things that needs to be done. Ẹ̀yin lọ sí pati bàbá Ìjẹ̀bú kódà afẹ́ lè máa rí yín nínú pati yẹn ṣe ni wọ́n lọ́ọ̀kì yín odindi ọba kábíyèsí. Èmi gan tí mo Ìgbòho gan bàbá jáde gan sẹ wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ clear ọ̀nà dáadáa fún wa. Àwa rí ọba lọ pati bàbá Ìjẹ̀bú. Bàbá Ìjẹ̀bú ò ṣe ṣe pati yẹn ní Ogun State. Ó ṣe jẹ́ Èkó tẹ́lẹ̀ tí lọ ṣe. Nǹkan ti ṣẹlẹ̀ Yorùbá gan. So ọmọ Ogun State á gbé pati ẹ̀ lọ sí Èkó. So Èkó tẹ́ yẹn ti wá di èmi náà débẹ̀ bí ẹ̀ẹ̀mejì mo tẹ̀lé Ìyá Àdúrà and I didn't get paid for it, okay? I'm saying it. Ìyá Àdúrà ò sanwó tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì mi wá sí Nàìjíríà o. Wọ́n ra tíkẹ́ẹ̀tì fáwọn èèyàn èmi fowó ara mi wá sí Nàìjíríà ni. And I was able to be part of this ṣe Christmas carol lọ́ máa ṣe. Torí mo pé tẹ́yìn kan bá ti ń gbọ́ Ìyá Àdúrà ní sí pé àbí àwọn náà ti gbọ́ lọ́wọ́ Ìyá Àdúrà èmi gbọ́. Mo fún mi lówó ní UK. Àpò mo gbọ́ £100 lọ́wọ́ wọn akọ pàdé ní event kan ní akọ tọwọ́ bá kó £50 méjì gbogbo tí mo dẹ̀ lọ ṣe fún wọn pé à ń cover wọn mo dẹ̀ ever propose kankan fún wọn rí pé mo need kankan you know she's a good woman and I move with her because I love what she's doing but in turn ṣe kò lè change ilẹ̀ Yorùbá bóun ìyá yẹn kóra because school kan ta lọ ní some years back wọ́n equip the school yẹn I'm sure gbọ́dọ̀ bá lọ sí school yẹn nísìn gbogbo àwọn teacher ti yẹ gbogbo kọ̀ǹpútà dànù wọ́n ti kó gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ́lé tọ́ba tẹ̀ ti ta gbogbo ẹ̀ dànù ṣùgbọ́n àwọn ìyá yẹn nísìn wọ́n kàn pump owó as a philanthropist, but owó yẹn ò ní jáde torí pé system tó wà nínú Nàìjíríà nísìn kò lè work. She's doing very well. I love her. I know her. Mo máa ń mọ wọn dáadáa. Tí bá kí send the message sí wọn nísìn wọn á ṣe reply mi. Àìtí bàjẹ́, Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ ká bàjẹ́. But in terms of ni pé we need a good government that can be able to look after us. Débi pé monitor bá train ẹ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, ó gbọ́dọ̀ tún sọ pé ó fẹ́ jápa. A jẹ́ pé gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì yẹn ìkọ̀kan right, because every province nílẹ̀ Yorùbá will get exactly 500 times better than in town in America. And that's why Trump says that America come first, going to think about any other countries around the world. But it will be Tinubu saw àwọn kumi. They did very well. Kódà mo ń gbọ́ pé wọ́n náà tẹ̀ to suspend them so Olúọmọ nísìn. I don't know what is going on. As the president of the National Union of Road Transportation. Ṣé kò ṣe dín bẹ́ẹ̀ ni? Èmi rò pé ó máa ti pé kó má tètè right anyway yẹn ṣe tán. Àbúrò mo yé nísìn. Ẹ wo ibi tí wọ́n sọ gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó bá wá láǹfààní méjì mẹ́ta tó kàwé dáadáa a lọ sí Europe. Actually, anything tẹ́ bá lè fún mi, ẹ ṣáà fún mi kí n lè fi survive. This is what we're saying that it can't continue. Ẹ jẹ́ ká gbọ́ díẹ̀ sí nípa ti India nítorí my time is almost up. Mo lè fẹ́ ká kọjá 2 hours. Let's go back to India.
Areas like energy and defense. More than 200 Indian companies have invested in Nigeria. Their investment is worth over $27 billion. Then there's the Diaspora Connect. About 50,000 Indians or people of Indian origin live in Nigeria. They're well respected for their business acumen. Typically, these areas shape a bilateral relationship. So India and Nigeria have the right ingredients. And the roots of their friendship go deep. Both nations are former British colonies. They face similar challenges. They have large populations, growing developmental needs, and mutual concerns on issues like corruption and terrorism.
No, that is not our issue. Sharing media, if you see ọba fi sọ̀rọ̀ lọ lọ́mọ sọ̀rọ̀ lọ, and it's every media. Sometimes ẹ̀yin náà máa fẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀ lọ báyìí, but a fi sọ̀rọ̀ lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ because ibi tẹ́ fẹ́ kí n sọ̀rọ̀ lọ yẹn kò relate mọ́ tèmi gbé dání. Koiki ṣé orí tó ń lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ hàn kò sí tó kàn mí pẹ̀lú tó ń lọ níbẹ̀ yẹn. In tó kàn mí ni pé Yorùbá nation la fẹ́. Because in tó ń lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ti bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí bá wọn dá sí ta ló pa Mohbad, I will be distracted. You get distracted. So baby nísìn ẹ̀gbọ́n tó sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ó ní Indian àti Nigeria go a long way. Britain ló colonize wọn, but àwọn ti yọra wọn lẹ̀. Nigeria tó wọ́n sọ yẹn nísìn àwọn ẹ̀yà wo ló wà nínú Nigeria àti pé kí ló ń pè ní Nigeria? Torí bóun ṣe ń sọ nísìn torí pé àwa ṣì ń fún Nigeria ní ẹ̀mí kó breathe. Ìjọ ta bá ti yọ oxygen tó wà nínú Nigeria yẹn ta gbọ́n yọ bá ṣe fẹ́ gbọ́n yọ ni pé a máa yọ through diplomacy ni, a máa fagídí yọ ni, a máa yọ bákan ni, a máa ṣe bákan ni. Everybody knows the answer to that. But àwa Yorùbá ta fẹ́ lọ kò bá jẹ́ 10 ni wá ká yọ oxygen yẹn. Kódà bó jẹ́ ẹyọ kan ni wá bó jẹ́ wọ nìkan ló ń ṣe Yorùbá nation bí èmi náà ṣe ń ṣe bó jẹ́ wọ nìkan wá ọ̀nà kọ́nà tó lè gbà kó yọ oxygen yẹn torí the more tá bá ṣe ń yọ oxygen yẹn à ń yọ ẹ̀mí kúrò lára Nàìjíríà. Sórí eléyìí tó ń sọ jágbajàgba ẹ̀ I can't blame her because ìlú ẹ̀ nídìí Nàìjíríà láti lè survive. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ àgbọn tárákùnrin sọ.
There is no land called Nigeria. There is no language called Nigeria. There are no people called Nigerians. We are only deceiving ourselves. We are not Nigerian. Okay, where is Nigeria?
Journalist yẹn ṣe rí pé journalist ìyẹn làwọn ẹ má jẹ́ kí olóyè ṣe interview kankan because wọ́n mọ̀ pé tólóyè bá ṣe interview àwọn journalist á máa bí náwọn ìbéèrè kan á dẹ̀ mọ́ bàbá wa wọ́n á dá wọn lóhùn wọ́n á dẹ̀ lò bí bàbá wa Kọ́lá Olóòtú a lè dárúkọ wọn because a public figure tó ń bi olóyè pé níbo ni kódà ó fẹ́ lè béèrè pé oògùn tó ní nìyẹn ṣé bàbá ẹ̀ ló ṣe kinní kan àwọn ṣé ẹ kí ọmọ Yorùbá máa bí ọmọ Yorùbá ìyẹn làwọn kan ṣe máa ń sọ pé àwọn tó máa lọ ń ṣe interview tẹ máa lọ ń gbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu àwọn alágbára ẹ need àwọn interview bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn but ìyẹn mo sọ pé ṣé tèmi bá lọ sọ fún ẹni yẹn pé interview tán náà ṣe fún yàn báyìí ṣe mọ̀ pa ní kí ló kàn mí. Do we need to go and be? Ṣé ẹ ká máa lọ bẹ àwọn alágbára wa pé ṣé omi ló máa ń mú tó fi jágbára ẹ̀? Ṣé Jésù ló ń pè? But everybody now love everything to become a content. Àti sọ gbọ́dọ̀ content. Gbé kámẹ́rà yà bàbá ẹ fún aláṣẹ. Wọ́n á realize pé ọmọ Yorùbá láìkí àwọn àṣírí tó pọ̀. Ibi tó bá ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ àṣírí ibẹ̀ la máa ń lọ a máa ń fẹ́ gbọ́ àṣírí but èyí tó jẹ́ òkodo ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń affect wa léèní tó ń pè ní ìran Yorùbá tí wọ́n jẹ́ kó yé wa mú kàn tó torí time tó fẹ́ padà sí ìwé lérú ní Ondo State Ondo tó bọ́dà Èkìtì àti Kogi àti Edo to the east Delta to the southeast Ogun to the southwest Ọ̀ṣun to the northwest and Atlantic Ocean ó ní omi ṣé ẹ mọ̀ pé omi yẹn lásán is $1 trillion investment fúnlẹ̀ Yorùbá kò ń ṣe Lagos nìkan ló lómi Ondo State náà lómi kódà ẹja tó wà ní Ondo tá bá ṣe dáadáa a lè supply gbogbo Africa now ṣé àwa tá fi supply Africa lẹ́ja wàá wá kàwé tán à train ẹ bóyá ìwọ ló kọ́ máa sọ fún wa pé ẹja yìí size ẹ̀ kéré ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe bó ṣe máa oríṣiríṣi mo kàn fi ń ṣàpèjúwe because everybody will have different role tá a fi play nínú country wàá wá ṣerú yìí training yẹn tán wàá wá gbé fishery training yẹn wàá lọ fi wa Uber ní Canada wàá wá ṣẹ̀ wá tó bá ti wá ń step up díẹ̀díẹ̀ tí wọ́n náà ti settle down ní Canada Ọlọ́run ti jẹ́ kí o ráyè settle down wàá wá lọ ṣe MBA àwa switch díẹ̀díẹ̀ àwa ń burn energy wa tẹ́lẹ̀dùmarè fún gbogbo wa àdẹ̀ ń burn ẹ̀ síta. India wa ń sọ fún wa nísìn I don't want to go back to the video because àti rí point out mo fi lò ń bẹ̀ àtúntò lò bí alọ́la àbí lọ́túnla tàbá tó láǹfààní àti jáde síta. Britain tó colonize gbogbo wa àwọn Indian retain culture àti èdè wọn. Modi nísìn wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ máa ṣe translation fún mi torí òyìnbó ṣúkúṣúkú ló gbọ́ kò gbọ́ púpọ̀ torí èdè tó fi train ẹ̀ láti kékeré èdè ìlú wọn ní. Bí Tinubu bá fẹ́ bá sọ̀rọ̀ nísìn á máa sọ òyìnbó kò ní sọ Yorùbá sí torí pé òyìnbó ní Britain ní olè jẹgúrú jẹrá lọ gbé gbogbo alẹ́ wa lọ́wọ́. So the summary aspect of it is that Ìwéléru that was discovered according to in tí wọ́n sọ fún wa pé Thurston Shaw and his team discovered a 13,000-year-old skull agbárí èèyàn agbárí èèyàn tó rí ní Ondo State tó ń pè ní Ìwéléru àwa wá ń sọ fún àwọn olóṣèlú pé ẹ má wọrí o ẹ̀yin ṣáà máa darí wa ibi tó bá wùn ní kẹ́ darí wa sí ibi tẹ́ bá darí ẹ̀ lọ títí tọ́lọ́jọ́ bá dé kó máa mẹ́yìn lọ tọ́lọ́jọ́ bá mú àwọn èèyàn náà lọ lọ́dọ̀ yín lọ́hùn kó máa mú wọn lọ. At what point are we going to put a full stop to all the shenanigans of our politicians? That is the question for you to answer yourself. I know we all know what to do, but you want Igboho to return back to Nigeria before we do it. Igboho does not need to be in Nigeria. I don't need to be in Nigeria. But we can assure you that we will be in Nigeria when things get heat up. But over heat up, what we will do is we will continue the awareness because it's part of the campaign. And don't come and ask me, Koiki Gbalamagba Yoruba Nation. Yoruba Nation what? In the process. And as Baba Kitoye was telling me yesterday, Yoruba Nation will come. And I believe it. As Igboho will tell me all the days that we speak, that Ojulon Koiboji. These politicians are not as powerful as you are looking at them. I know we are scared of the weapons, but Omo Yoruba Niwa. The weapons are just tools to scare us from achieving our quest. That's all. Don't expect much from Tinubu because Tinubu agenda is different from our own agenda. The UK government care less whether we act or not. If we act, they'll have no other option than to care. If we don't act, I want to support one act. The letter that was delivered, I don't have access to know what is inside, but it's one of the biggest threats to the world today. But if we don't act on it, letter yẹn ló ń jẹ́ kẹ́ máa rí gbogbo Angola Abdullahi Shango kìnnìkan tàwọn north. Letter yẹn ló ń react to. I'm telling you. Letter yẹn ló ń jẹ́ kí many of the world reacting. Letter yẹn ló ń jẹ́ kí India máa react to. I'll leave it like that. More countries are going to react again. India lè gbọ́ pé ó lọ Nigeria. Abi. In another 2 weeks, there will be 2 more countries. Táwọn ọmọ náà wá strategic partnership pẹ̀lú Nigeria. Because they're giving Tinubu the backing that Nigeria can still exist. Britain is the most smart country in the world. They are reacting already. They are reacting, but they need more partners to react. But our Lama Sopa Fellow. I will talk about a little bit about the Biafra tomorrow or the day after, God's willing. What are we expecting from December the 2nd? And what should we be preparing for? Someone declare, how is that going to affect us? What should you prepare for? And I'll be talking from the angle of a journalist, not from the leadership of the movement, from a journalist perspective. So expect a little bit more of that, like Borono, Lori Ikoniwa Tonpe Koikimedia. When Yorubas are ready, no country can stop us, but we are not ready yet to move out of Nigeria. That's why we will continue to be named Nigerians, even though this man told us this again.
There is no land called Nigeria. There is no language called Nigeria. There are no people called Nigerians. We are only deceiving ourselves. We are not Nigerian. Okay, where is Nigeria? Where is the land called Nigeria? What is the Nigerian language? We are nations that had been forced together to live in one pathetic country. So
we are nations that have been forced to live together in one pathetic country. How do we stop that pathetic country is just about me and you. And on that note, I say good morning. Thank you so much for everyone that have joined us at this particular hour. Don't come on my program and put nonsense. Politicians àwọn ló represent èmi kọ́ ni olóṣèlú tó represent yín. Adébáyọ̀ Kìkíọ́lá Emmanuel mo kí yín, good morning, thank you so much. Àṣàkẹ́ mo kí ẹ lẹ́ǹkan sí Àbáyọ̀mí Trace, thank you so much for joining this morning. Ìdòwú Matthew, bàbá mi Lukman Ọláìdé mo kí yín, mo kí bàbá wa Àkànbí. We must exit as soon as possible. The more tá bá ṣe ń delay, the more la fún wọn ní agbára, torí agbára tí ẹni tó bá ní agbára. Mo rí tí North Korea sọ pé kọ́ lọ máa create ìtàn pè ní suicide drones. I love that word. North Korea ó ti instruct wọn pé kọ́ create thousands of it. Suicide drones ló ń pè. We need to act now, and that actness can be between you and me. Enter our Instagram. Let me appreciate you because I need our Val OLAKUNLE Moki Ami Bola Precious, Mr. Abe Akinwale Moki, Mr. Cole Moki Alayo Moki Ade Itunu àti Orion TV. Yawa Felicia Jagbe Moki and the rest of you on Instagram. Order all over Instagram because it's going to finish. Abiodun George, thank you so much. Good morning. Ifeoluwa Olumide Moki sir. Taiwo David Mukie, Said Mele Muki, Babami Obayomi Famujuro. Taiwo David Muki, Molobe Mukia Inti Embelori Instagram, sorry, Lori YouTube. Wabami Waris Jinodo Muki, brother me, Mean Box Games. Thank you so much, Olayomi. Thank you so much for joining, and every contributor on the platform this morning. Baba Kunle Shita Muki Isa, Muki ya Babami Jaye Ola, Olari Bigbe. Ẹ̀ṣẹ̀gàn ni tí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa. Mo kí Alabi Samuel, mo kí the silent listeners, Olúwafẹ́mi Ọlásìlọ́lá, mo kí Eunice Adélẹ́yẹ, mo kí Yima, mo kí bàbá wa Adégoróyè Ọ̀pẹ́yẹmí, mo kí Mr. Fuja, mo kí uncle mi Aminu, mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní dínà. Ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ tí gbaṣọ yín pé Koiki kí ló wá lè tó yà ti sanwó aṣọ. Ìgbà rẹ̀ náà tó wá dára Nàìjíríà. Mo send message sí Àjíá ní àná. She didn't reply back. I believe she's busy. Wíìkì lọ́nà aṣọ máa dé extra tó ṣe, especially ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ka post aṣọ sí l'Amẹ́ríkà. Magazine wà, but I gbọ́dọ̀ make sure I post gbogbo ẹ̀ in one go. So ẹ̀yin tẹ́ sanwó, like I always say, if you are in Nigeria, ẹ máa raṣọ yín gbà, ẹ kàn fún wa ní time kí aṣọ fi dé. Eléyìí top yìí wọ́n ṣe fún public, our committee nìkan ló ṣe fún, but the bottom náà wọ́n ṣe fún public. Only, no, sorry, eléyìí ló ṣe fún public, but the inner and the bottom wọ́n ṣe fún public. Àwa nìkan tó dájẹ́ committee ló ṣe fún. Bí wọ́n máa ṣe fún public in the future, I don't know. Mo dẹ̀ kí gbogbo àwọn ẹgbẹ́ Ìfẹ́lódùn, mo kí Akíkanjú, mo kí YSD, mo kí different groups and different people. Mo kí àwọn tí wọ́n lọ sí Ilé Ifẹ̀. Àwọn team mi ti padà sí base wọn, adúpẹ́ fọ́lọ́run. Kò sí ní àjò kankan tó kéré ní Nàìjíríà. Gbogbo bẹ ṣe ń rí wọn, tẹ́ ń rí wọn wọ̀nyẹn, ìdùnnú ló jẹ́ tí ẹ̀yin náà bá túbọ̀ support ilé iṣẹ́ yìí kí a túbọ̀ lè ṣe sí. Mo sọ pé àwọn ń ṣe fídíò ṣùkúṣùkú. It's a long videos that they do. Kódà adúpẹ́ pé látara ìnáwó tẹ́ ṣe fún wa, ẹ rí pé difference díẹ̀díẹ̀ ń yọ lára Koikimedia. Tẹ́ bá túbọ̀ ràn wá lọ́wọ́, there will be more things that we can do to create awareness. So mo kí gbogbo, mo kí kábíyèsí tó gbà wá láyè fún iṣẹ́ tó ṣe ní Ilé Ifẹ̀. It's a very beautiful event. Ó wúyàn lórí nígbà tí mo rí oríṣiríṣi oúnjẹ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tí a lè transport, tá lè tà, tá lè package, tó yẹ pé a máa ṣe ní large quantity. Gbogbo àwọn frozen food tá à ń jẹ nílùú òyìnbó náà, wọ́n bá package ẹ̀, kódà mo fi dárúkọ ilé iṣẹ́ yẹn ni, a lọ rẹwà gan-an níbẹ̀. Frozen ni mo rà. Ìgbà tí mo délé mo ṣe gbé sínú microwave, kò jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. So that means pé oúnjẹ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà a lè freeze pa, a dé bíbà within 6 hours. Orí flight ni wàá dispose sí gbogbo. Ṣebí Concord kọ́lọ́n fọ́run Kábíọ́lá, Concord máa ń dé ìlú lójoojúmọ́, wàá dispose káàkiri. Concord ọ̀hún dà lẹ́ni nísìn, àwọn ọmọ manager. So mo kẹ́yìn tàwa lórí Twitter space. So àwa ló kù sí lọ́wọ́ The future of Yoruba land is beautiful. Mo kí Shakiru Aziz brother mi Ọlákúnlé. Ẹ̀yin wà ní aago mẹ́ta àbọ̀ ní Nàìjíríà, aago méjì àbọ̀ fi lọ lọ́dọ̀ tiwa. Ẹ̀yin wà 1 hour ẹ̀. Mo kí mọ̀ sí mi náà, mo kí ìyàwó mi náà, mo kí àwọn ọmọ Oòduà, mo kí àwọn tilé yín náà, mo kí gbogbo èèyàn tó darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní ọ̀gànjọ́ òru èní. Kò ní pé 50 years, but tá a bá fi àyè sílẹ̀, ó máa lọ sí 50 years yẹn bí wọ́n ṣe ń sọ. Mo kẹ́ńtà wà lórí Twitter as well. Wherever you see my message, ẹ bá wa pín, ẹ share, kẹ̀dẹ̀ dá sí iléeṣẹ́ yìí náà. Tẹ́ ẹ bá wá ní kankan tẹ́ fẹ́ fún wa, ẹ ṣáà máa fàdúrà ràn wá lọ́wọ́ pé eléyìí tá à ń ṣe àṣeyọrí la máa ṣe nínú ẹ̀. Bàbá wa Tibetan mo kí dáadáa. Wọ́n ní Yorùbá ò kí ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ nǹkan kan má parí ẹ̀. Ìṣẹ́rí nígbà tá a bẹ̀rẹ̀ yẹn, àìtí fi parí ẹ̀ ni. Àwọn kan bẹ̀rẹ̀. We might not like him, we might disagree with him. Comrade Victor Taiwo náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀. Okay. Comrade George Akínọlá àtàwọn bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, a dúpẹ́ fún wọn. But ṣẹ́rí àwa Gen Z tá a dá sí nísìn, a máa parí eléyìí o. I have told Baba Akintoye the same thing. Baba, eré ìtàgbé dání, ọ̀nà ọmọ mi a máa parí ẹ̀. And that's exactly what I heard when I came home in 2021. And the same thing tó lóye sọ kò change ohun ẹ̀, kò change ohun yẹn ní 2021 tí mi àti ẹ̀ máa kọ́kọ́ rí la physically. I told him straight up pé eré ìtàgbé dání a máa parí ẹ̀ bàbá. Wọ́n ní kò ń ṣeré ẹ̀. And exactly that same message mo ṣe ń gbọ́. So ó ń fún mi ní hope pé 50 years yẹn ò ní wáyé, but tá a bá fìdí ẹ̀ táwa náà ò ṣepá, ó máa wáyé o. So, and I'm sure more communication is coming very soon. That's all I can give you. 8. Communication kan máa jáde kò ní pẹ́ mọ́, but I don't know how soon. Be next year, be at the end of this year, I don't know. Àwọn tó náà ti gba country, they're wasting their time. They need to come back on the table and continue to push the message. Kò síbi kankan tí country kankan ti jáde tán pé ní Yorùbá country is a waste of time. So, bí tábà ní country wà, o gbọ́dọ̀ lè take charge of your borders. O gbọ́dọ̀ lè take charge of. Kódà tí Baba Akintoye bá declare lálẹ́, the first thing is we shut the whole borders. Kò sẹ́ni tó máa wọlé, kò sẹ́ni tó máa jáde. We will have our own police tó máa jáde lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀. I will still be talking about that because we should be preparing for a declaration at any point as well. Because being constitutional Nigeria, Baba ní right láti declare. Whatever ma declare, we need a lot of weapons and we need a lot of weapons. I need weapons to put that because Fulani ma bá wa jà. And I pray we won't nípa Tinubu kó tó parí government. Ó rán yọlá máa sùn, ó dàárọ̀.